Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 68.
68.
Of the Calypso Cigar Review Podcast. I am Brandon Luna.
I'm Randy Rankin.
CigarDeetNate.
CigarDeetNate, if you can't hear him.
I'll
give him the microphone when he does the deets here in just a second.
And
anyway.
we are, as always, at the lovely Calypso Cigar Shop and Lounge in Richardson, Texas.
Yes. This
and
is a reboot of episode 68 that we never even got off the ground.
Yes, because Google sucks. So, I will say Time Warner sucks, too.
Time Warner sucks more.
More Time Warner.
Yeah.
Really.
So we are doing the Leccia Luchador today, which we tried to do quite a while ago. It didn't work out that way, but we're doing it now.
Yes, we are. And here is CigarDeetNate with the deets.
That's like the cheesiest way you could possibly do that.
We're last second here, bud.
All right, this is Leccia Luchador El Hombre. It's a Nicaraguan cigar. It's got a Mexican San Andreas wrapper, Ecuadorian Habano binder. Filler is Pennsylvania Liro, Honduras, and Nicaragua. It's 5x54, and this is classified as Robusto Gordo.
Mm-hmm. Nice. It's a little bit fatter than your normal Robusto, yes. I guess, being a 54 instead of a 52.
That would be the Gordo.
Yeah, that's the Gordo part.
Thank you, CigarDeetNate.
You're a faggot.
No, I'm really not, but I appreciate the sentiment.
Mr.
Not that there's
Spinach
anything
Dick.
wrong with it. Yes, Spinach Dick. Anyway.
So check this out. It's got a little pigtail on it. So in theory, you could snap that off and
twist it. But I don't have much
be good
luck
with
with that. And besides, we've got our Monte Cristo cutter donated to us by Altadis USA and our buddy Eddie Gavito.
Really? We have that?
Yes.
That's
I'm going to
awesome.
Use it to cut that pig's tail. Sorry. That just came to me right when I was talking. I thought I'm going to go and say it. It sure has a pretty mouth.
Oh, God.
Let's see what the... I just cut just the tip of the tail off.
Just the tip? Just to see how...
Our 4-year-old brains are not going to be able to wrap our minds around this cigar.
And the draw is actually pretty good with just the tip off, so... Yeah. Just the tip, buddy. Just the tip.
I'm going to have to bow out. You guys have a fantastic
CigarDeetNate,
night.
Thank you.
And lick both my balls.
That's what you're going to go do? Okay.
And some sack, too.
If he could lick both his balls, he'd never leave the house.
Damn straight.
Yeah, my draw's a little open, or it's not wide open, but I've got a good draw.
Yep. The cold draw on it was pretty much just straight up tobacco. I really didn't get any sweetness. I don't know if you did at all.
Touch is spicy, not much. But.
Let's give it a whirl. Lots of smoke coming off it, right off the light. Oh yeah.
Yeah, this is going to be spicy, I think.
Retro Hell's definitely spicy. Ah! It burns!
Boy.
Oh! That'll get you.
That sucked.
That'll just knock those nose hairs right out of there.
I was just getting ready to say, I'm about to... Oh, God, that got me good.
Definitely stronger than the Leccia Black or the Leccia White.
Yeah. I hope I don't become Todd Vance in this episode.
Oh, and just get sick. Yeah. We just ate. We should be good. We did have some.
We
did have some Mexican food right before the Luchador, so that was appropriate.
Yes,
unfortunately, we're not drinking a Mexican beer. We are having the
Bellhaven Scottish Ale,
which is tasty. It is Scottish.
Forgot what I was going to say because that Retro Hill gave me the hiccups.
Hiccups right off the bat.
Oh, man.
It is definitely strong. It's got a very beefy flavor to it. It's just really kind of strong and meaty and
wow,
yummy. I can tell it's going to be stout. Wow. Yeah. It's going to be stout. Ah. Nice. Nice, Sam.
So
nice
far,
job.
Sam. Nice job.
Damn, this is probably the strongest Leccia I've had just in the first little few puffs here that we've had in a while.
Wow.
Yeah.
Great waftage.
Mm-hmm. It does.
Smoking like a champ.
Mm-hmm.
And that's part of the problem is I'm trying to recover from my retrohale and the smoke is blowing right back into my mouth, so it's like I'm inhaling it too.
You know who I bet would be able to take this cigar and not even bat an eye? His expression wouldn't even change. Jack Bauer.
Jack Bauer would definitely... He'd laugh at this cigar.
He'd be like...
Bring me something real.
And
there would be nothing real.
There would be nothing that could hurt Jack Bauer now.
So,
he would put like 30 in his mouth and line him up and be like... Scoop of vanilla.
This is crap. Although he drinks Cuervo Gold or whatever that is.
Yeah.
But that's Kiefer. Jack
That's
would
Keith.
never drink Cuervo
No,
Gold
he
or
would
whatever.
drink, just.
Padron or better.
I was gonna say he'd be drinking that crap you got back there that you used to clean the pipes with. Everclear is like, give me Everclear straight.
Down in that sucker. They stopped showing those Cuervo commercials for a while, and then 24 came back on, and I saw it. I've seen it 3 times this week.
I haven't seen it. I don't watch a whole lot of TV though, so
I only watch TV up here, so
yeah.
I'm always here. Seems like so. Anyway, so what have you been up to?
Man,
We didn't record last week, did we?
did we? I don't think we did.
No, we didn't.
No, we had a week. We didn't. Yeah,
Yeah. So
We did. Well,
two-
we did
two
minis.
with-
We did
yeah,
minis.
We did minis. Yeah.
we did minis. We didn't do a full episode. Yeah. I've been catching up on some James Bond. Speaking of manly men,
Finally got to start watching.
I
some stuff?
started watching James Bond. I've gotten all the way through Thunderball, and I have determined that those movies.
I don't know the number.
So you got Doctor No was number 1,
Okay.
and then you had From Russia with Love was number 2, which I actually really liked. From Russia with Love. Doctor No was weird. From Russia with Love had started to bring in some of the gadgets, and some of the cool stuff that from Bond, and then the hot chicks. There's more than one chick. A couple of chicks involved there, and then you had forget which one was next. Am I on the 3rd one or the 4th one now? I have to look it up. I don't know. Where's my phone?
CigarDeetNate has it.
CigarDeetNate. No, he took it. But I've gotten through, and what I've noticed in the process of designing and making those movies is that they got a bigger budget, so the movies got longer. And the longer they got, the more gadgets there were. And the more gadgets there were, the more explanations for the gadgets, and the more slow the movies got. So Thunderball.
And it became more and more about the gadgets and the plot even.
Yeah, and what I noticed was that Thunderball could have been 30 minutes shorter, easy. There's so much emphasis on the process of these bad guys doing these things. If you think about modern day filmmaking, it's like, okay, so the bad guys are trying to steal a plane with some nukes on it so they can utilize the nukes and charge $100 million so that we don't blow stuff up.
Right.
So in modern day cinema, you'd see the guy, they did this makeup on this guy, or not makeup, but plastic surgery, so he'd look like the other guy, and they killed the other guy, and he's flying the plane. He knocks all the guys out. They have this 20-minute sequence of him trying to land the plane at a certain spot. He lands it in the water. It goes underwater. These guys come up. It's like, it just show the plane land, show the guys swim towards the plane, and that's all you have to show.
But
you don't have to show.
You're thinking in 2014
Yeah.
mindset. When they made that movie, people didn't have as many options, so they didn't mind going to a movie and watching a 25-minute action scene because
Yeah, but
what
it
are they
wasn't
going to
even,
do? Go home and
it was
watch
basically
Bonanza?
visual exposition. It's
Yeah.
like, here's the process that these guys went through, all the
True, but I'm
trouble they
telling you
went
why
through.
They did that.
Yeah.
It's for the audience because the audience had more time.
Well, the movies were different pace back
Yeah,
then. I mean,
exactly.
you watch like Lawrence of Arabia now, and you're like, because it's so slow,
Oh, I
and there's
know.
all these desert shots, and it's a great movie, but the pacing works for that. I don't think the pacing works necessarily for a James Bond movie.
I got to be
So-
honest, I'm not a Bond guy. I
Yeah.
don't hate him by any means, and I'm not hit the table this much today. I've liked a lot of Bond movies, don't get me wrong, but I'm more into the spy movie comedies. That's more my thing. Like, I'm much more into Get Smart and the Austin Powers movies than I am the Bond stuff. But I do realize that if it weren't for the Bond stuff, then Get
Those
Smart
other things wouldn't
would-
exist, yeah. So it was Dr. No in 62, From Russia with Love in 63, Goldfinger in 64, which I liked Goldfinger, that was good. And that took place, Fort Knox, and a lot of it took place in America, so there was a little more, you get know stuff, like, oh, I know where that is, I know this thing.
Right.
Then Thunderball was 65. Then You Only Live Twice was the last one he did before he left the series, and then George Lazenby came over and took over for one movie, and it went, so then they brought him back for Diamonds Are Forever.
Because in the David Niven one was just, that's not really a true James Bond movie.
It's a parody. It's basically they hadn't had the rights to Casino Royale, so they bought it, and it's basically a Woody Allen comedy. And David Niven plays Bond in that, and a couple other people play Bond
But
as
it's
well.
not
So
technically
it's not
a Bond.
technically a Bond. The newer one is
Yeah,
the new
that's
one
right.
that they rebooted is
Okay.
considered a Bond movie, but that was one of those ones that just was a rights issue. And what's odd is that Thunderball somehow it fell through the cracks, and that was the one Bond movie because it was an original screenplay, I guess, that they didn't keep the rights to. So when Sean Connery came back in like the 80s to do a Bond movie, it wasn't official canon. It's not considered a James Bond movie. He only says the name James Bond. He doesn't say Bond, James Bond, which
Yeah, I
is
remember that. Never Say Never? or
yeah, it was
something
Never
like
Say Never Again, which is basically a remake of Thunderball.
Okay.
And I think that's even longer than Thunderball, so if that's even hard. But Thunderball, I mean, it had good moments, but I found myself just fast forwarding through a
Really?
bunch of stuff just
That's
to
too
get
bad.
through it. So
that? That's too bad.
yeah.
Well,
And I remember really liking those movies, but I think it's as it progresses and I get into more of the the stuff that I grew up on, like really the Roger Moore
What was
stuff.
the first Roger Moore one?
Live and Let Die was the
Okay.
first Roger Moore one. Yeah.
Which has the best James Bond song. by
Yes,
far.
yes, hands
Of
down
all
the
of
base
them.
James Bond song. Yeah.
Although For Your Eyes Only was pretty good. I'm joking. I hate that song.
Spy Who Loved Me. I don't know what the.
Oh, Carly Simon.
Yeah. What was the stupid Duran Duran one? A View to a Kill. Yeah. You gotta know from an artist standpoint. Okay, we need to make you. You need to write a song with the lyrics of View to a Kill. Like, what the fuck does that even mean?
Yeah.
Like, and the way they incorporated that in the movie, because they have to do it. Like, I guess. They don't do it as much in film nowadays. You don't have to say the name of the film in the film.
Right.
But back then it was like Christopher Walken was the bad guy and Grace Jones was his cohort. And she's like, "What a beautiful view." It's like, to a kill. And I'm like, what? What does that even mean? Like, what the fuck does that even? And for the Duran Duran to have to write a song and put that in there, I felt sorry for him.
Well,
you know, it's like,
A little side note, kind of similar.
yeah,
In the 70s, Elton John became really good friends with Billie Jean King. Imagine that.
yeah.
And her tennis team was called the Philadelphia Freedoms. Well, he called Bernie Taupin, his lyric writer. He said, "Hey, write a song called Philadelphia Freedom." And he says, "Well, what do you want that to be about?" And he goes, "Being and Billie Jean." He was like, "I'm not going to write a tennis song called Philadelphia Freedom." He's like, "Well, you're smart. Come up with something." And Bernie came up with great lyrics about living free and all that kind of stuff. But it was kind of like, what the fuck's Philadelphia Freedom mean?
Yeah, right.
Why am I writing that? But back to the Bond stuff. So what'd you say? The first Roger Moore?
Live and Let Die was
Live
the
and
first
Let Die.
Roger Moore. Yeah.
And see, my dad in the 70s, off and on, for part-time work, would manage drive-in theaters, which is how I knew Homps so well. Because
Yeah.
we'd go every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night and just watch movies all the time. So that was my first exposure to Bond because my mom didn't like James Bond movies. So when they showed them on TV, unless it was late at night and my dad, would let me stay up, I didn't get to watch Bond movies. So I never saw a Sean Connery movie until the 80s. A Sean Connery Bond until the 80s. So I grew up thinking Roger Moore is James
Bond, yeah.
And not knowing any better, I thought he was a very good James Bond.
Yeah.
I thought he was very solid. I bought him and I enjoyed him. But I even remember after about maybe The Spy Loved Me or Moonraker, maybe it was Moonraker. I was like, I got the formula down, guys. I don't think I need to see anymore.
Yeah.
And I kind of
Trailed
just
off.
stopped.
Yeah.
But,
I kept with it and I watched them all just because you kind of get into a movie rut where you just like, okay, the next one's coming, I got to see it. And they just, they got progressively worse. A lot of the Roger Moore stuff is really, I'm not looking forward to watching it again. And I plan to watch every single one of them.
well, the earlier ones were good.
Yeah, the earlier ones were
Once
real. He had a lot of good ones.
Getting bored with it. And
Yeah,
it's kinda
For
like,
Your Eyes Only was really his last good one. That
Yeah.
was 81. Then you had Octopussy, which was awful.
Yeah, it was.
And then A View to a Kill, which was crap. And then Living Daylights came out, and that was the first one with
Timothy Dalton.
and that was crap.
We weren't allowed to say the name of that movie.
Yeah.
We just had to call it Octo.
Oh, Octopussy. Well, this is Living Daylights. Yeah,
I know,
yeah.
but we weren't allowed to say Octopus.
Octocunt. You can't call it that. That would have been even worse. Yeah. License to Kill, which I thought
Snatch.
was
That's what I
Snatch.
I'm trying to get.
Octocoos. Yeah. horrible name for a movie.
God,
And what's funny is the was it Goldfinger had Pussy Galore, which was the
Yeah.
character that like you just can't say that name without
Right.
snickering. And the cool thing about the Blu-rays is they have all these extra stuff with interviews with people, and it's all from those time periods and stuff. And they talk to Pussy Galore about her character. And the guy interviewing her for television was like, "So, what is it like to be Mrs. Galore?" And she's like, "Oh, you mean pussy?" And I'm like, and then they talked to her like they had some color footage of her in a different TV show, and she's like, "Yeah, they didn't make it to television; they cut that out." But anytime anybody ever tried to skirt the subject, I would always say pussy because that's the name of the character.
Right. I like the Mike Myers version. A lot of vagina. That's awesome. Was that Bay once? Bay once played her. A lot of vagina, right?
No, it wasn't Bay once.
Who was it? Bay
It was
once
that.
in one
It was
of them.
that chick from Summer School, the hot chick from Summer School. Remember Summer School?
No.
You don't remember the movie Summer School
Yeah,
with
with
Mark Harmon?
Harmon?
Yeah, it was the hot chick in Summer School that everybody was lusting
Elizabeth
after.
Hurley? No.
No,
that's a-
there was an Hispanic chick.
Oh, Heather Graham. Heather
No.
Graham was.
There was like some Hispanic chick
Heather
that was
Graham
in
played
Summer
somebody
School.
and Bay once played somebody.
Yeah, those are two different. Yeah, that was Spire
Foxy
Shack.
Cleopatra
Foxy
was
Cleopatra, and then
Beyonce,
whoever the other one chick. Yeah, but
Damn, I said Beyonce.
you did. You said Beyonce.
I didn't say
Instead of
Bay
Bay
once.
once. No, you let it go. You let it slip, man.
Damn.
But yeah, so
Because our wheels got shot off tonight.
I'm kind of regretting committing to watching all of these. this point.
I know.
But I'm going to do it. I'm going to try and watch. Tonight I missed out on one. I was going to try and watch one tonight, but it's not going to happen. So my daughter's like, how long is that going to take you? I'm like, well, it's 22 movies. She's like, 22 days? I'm like, there's no way I'll watch one every single day.
No,
it's going to take probably a month and a half to finish
What was it that I was going to do that to?
Friday the 13th or something? Or the Halloween news?
It was a TV
series.
Oh,
Halloween news.
Yes.
There's a Halloween Blu-ray coming out.
Yeah,
It's all of them. Did you see that?
I saw
and
that.
it has the producer's cut of that one that
Yeah.
like you can't find anywhere.
Right, that's
Like
gonna
I had
be
a
awesome.
really, really bad VHS copy of it a long time ago, and it was great. It was actually a much better version of the movie than the one they
Right.
released. It was like, I guess it was, I don't even know which one it was. I forget, but might have been Return of Michael Myers or something like that, I think. But so I'm looking forward to that. I'm hoping that that's either really inexpensive or somewhere where we can get it.
Maybe.
Yeah,
So,
but
be
I'm
nice.
looking forward to checking that out.
But yeah, there was something I was going to do, and I got like through 1.5 of them, and I can't remember now. It was
Tremors?
I love the first Tremors.
The
I thought
first
that was
Tremors is
fun.
awesome, yeah.
That was a great movie.
Then they get into the stuff with the walking ones that look like just jumping around penises or whatever, and it just got bad. Once they didn't even bring back the original guys, so it got bad pretty fast.
Yeah, that was a good cast. A weird cast.
Mm-hmm.
The dad from Family Guys, Reba McEntire, Kevin Bacon, Fred Ward.
Yep, and Remo Williams, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, what a weird cast. But it worked.
Did you ever see Remo Williams with Fred Ward?
I've seen it. Yeah,
Yeah.
It's been a long time though.
See, it came at the right time because my dad had given me all of these like little pulp novels to read.
Mm-hmm.
It was like all the James Bond stuff, which those novels are like 100 pages. They're really short. And all the Remo Williams stuff. And there was some other guy, the guy with the golden arm, I forget his name. What's that guy's name? I can't think of it right now, but there was another superhero guy that had all these books that were very, spy-ish and stuff. And I had probably tore through about 5 or 6 of the Remo Williams books, and then the movie came out, and it was garbage compared to they totally got the character wrong and just really screwed everything up. And I was so pissed. I hate when that happens.
I do too. Anyway, so about another couple of days, you'll be finished with all those Bond movies, huh?
No, it's gonna take a
You
long
watch
time.
the Timothy Dalton one?
I will watch. I'll watch.
Okay.
It's nice to revisit stuff you haven't seen in a long time, even if it's crap. Just because you can go, okay, yeah, it is crap, or you go, maybe I liked it a little more this time. You never
when
know.
Pierce Brosnan finally signed on,
Yeah.
finally was allowed to play, I was excited.
Yeah, I was too.
But I didn't go see it at the theater, and I bought it for my dad for his birthday.
Mm-hmm.
And not to be a downer, but he died like 7 weeks later.
Ouch.
And we never got around to watching it. So I put it in, and I got about 10 minutes into it. It was like, I always watch James Bond movies with my dad.
Yeah.
And I don't want to watch it. And I've never watched any of them since.
Oh,
But I heard Brosnan was really good.
Yeah, the GoldenEye was really good. He had a couple of good movies in him, and then they started just, I guess, what they do with the James Bond movies with all of them is they'll put out 1 or 2 really good ones, and they'll get you going back to the theater, and then they're like, well, we don't need to do this anymore. We don't need to script on
Right.
that, and then they just
Yeah.
get progressively worse until they just
Yeah.
turn into piles of shit, which the last 2 Pierce Brosnan movies were fucking awful. I mean, you hire Denise Richards, who's hot, but she can barely put together 2 sentences, and name her Christmas Jones or something like that, and she's a nuclear physicist or something, a rocket scientist.
I buy her as a rocket scientist.
I'm like,
yeah.
what the hell?
I know.
No.
What about the Halle Berry one?
Yeah, that was awful too. That was real bad. She was good in it, but the
She
movie
looked great
was
in an orange
garbage.
swimsuit. I'll
Oh
tell
yeah,
you that.
oh yeah.
Other than that, no.
And that was what I noticed about. I hadn't seen those movies in so long that I remember Ursula Andress in the white suit that was identical to the one Halle Berry wore, and it was iconic. And she gets out of the water, and you're like, ooh, well, she's hot. Then she starts acting. She can't act. Her way out of a paper bag. She's awful.
Damn it.
So it's just horrible that she's. I mean, I guess that's the
But I'm
reason
sure
she
if
got in
you're-
the
if
movie.
you're okay, one of those know your limitations.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
But if you're an attractive enough woman and you think you could pull off being a Bond girl, I think that would be something an actress would want to do. I mean, that would be something to have on your resume. I was a Bond girl.
Yeah,
That'd be kind of cool.
it's a step above being a playboy. Yeah, I think at that time.
Yeah.
Because you get to be in a movie, and that's forever.
And forever is a long, long time.
It is a long, long time.
It's not a Bond
Diamonds
movie.
are forever.
That's what I was thinking. Oh, well.
All right. So this is mellowed out some. It's still very
got
strong.
Strong flavor, and it's a spicy little bomb. It's
Yeah,
a
the retro hell is
spicy meatball.
very spicy.
That's for sure.
Right now, it's kind of. What are you getting flavor wise though? I'm just getting a lot of spice.
I'm
It's
getting
just like
spicy, little cedar.
I'm not getting this. I'm just getting spice. It's
And I'm
like
getting
spice,
some
spice,
earth.
spice,
Can I
spice,
get
spice.
earth? I'm getting some
No,
butter.
it's all spice right now for me. But maybe because I'm retrohelling, so I need to stop that, I guess.
Yeah, because let your palate do the talking.
Yeah, I'll do that. All right, so we're gonna take a little break. We'll come back for the second third of the Leccia Luchador. All right, we're back for the second third of the Luchador.
Luchador!
That's not karate. I don't know why I'm doing karate, but okay. But yeah,
Because the luchador means the wrestler.
it does mean the wrestler.
Something about wrestling.
It is very much a wrestling
The
term.
Mickey Rourke cigar.
The Mickey Rourke cigar. It's more like the Nacho Libre cigar. Nacho! If you want to go that route. The ash is held on nicely. The burn's
I just lost mine right
not razor sharp, but it's nothing that needs to be corrected. And it is a balls to the walls smoke.
It has smoothed out enough to where I'm not worried about turning into Todd Vance. Which, that is something to worry about. You do not want to be turned into Todd Vance.
Yeah. I'd be okay with his hair, because I have none. And now I'm like super mega bald, because I cut my beard off, so I'm like way bald now.
We didn't talk about your bald face.
Yeah, my bald face. Yeah, you know, you ever have those friends, like I'm sure you have those friends that like, you have the friends that are like, oh, you shaved your beard off. Yeah, well, you look different. And then you have the other friends
like me, you walked in, I said, hey, you shaved your beard.
Yeah.
Nate talked to you for 10 minutes.
Yeah, but then you have the other friends that are like, you look fatter. Like, thanks a lot, you fuck. Like, that's not a cool thing to say.
Well, you had something similar. Your wife came in and said, yeah, I don't like it.
Yeah, I like it better with it. I'm like,
you're the reason.
Really? You're the reason I cut it off, because you were like, oh, it's prickly.
I'll just say, I knew this little girl that my wife and I hung out with her mom a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And she comes in, and I'd shaved it, because I'd had this for like 7 or 8 years, and I'd shaved it. And she like looks at, she's like 7, she's like, I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And her mom's like looking at her like, don't say anything, don't say anything. So a little bit later I called her over and said, Emily, come here. I said, what was the matter? What happened? She's like, so crying. It's like, what? I said, you can tell me anything. Talk. What's up? It's like, you're much more handsomer with your beard. I started growing it the next day.
Yeah, mine's not going to stay off very long. I think I'm going to probably let it go through the summer, and then once August kicks in, and I'll be growing it again. But
7-year-old kicking you in the balls with your
yeah, right. I know. Yeah, so I had two reactions. I walked in, my cigar buddy Steven, who I smoke on lunch breaks with and stuff like that. He turned around. He was like, "No!" He's kind of like, "What the hell?" He's like, he's just totally surprised.
Okay, leave comments on whether or not you noticed it on YouTube. We need to know how many people noticed it and how many didn't.
And then Chip saw it, and he's like, your cheeks look fatter. I'm like, thanks a lot.
You can't freaking win in this world, dude.
I was like, thanks a lot, Grizzly Fatums, because he has this big freaking giant beard.
Fatums.
Yeah,
he has this like this, like I'm leaning in, and
he has this big giant beard growing because of the whole, grow the beard during the playoffs thing, and so.
Oh, the hockey thing.
Yeah, the hockey thing. So he has this long curly hair that makes him look like Jean-Claude Van Damme from Hard Target, and he's got this big fat, just mountain man beard.
Right.
So.
My hockey is stupid comment is for Craig because he just started following me this week on Twitter. Thanks, Craig.
Oh, Craig?
Yeah, thank you. So hockey sucks.
Our Canadian connection, Craig.
Okay, speaking of the Luchador.
Yes.
I was going to take our second segment in a totally different route, but I like the way you're going with it.
Okay.
I was thinking let's talk spy spoof movies and stuff, but really how long can we talk on that?
Mm-hmm.
We can talk wrestling for a long time.
And we can make this part of your... Because we didn't...
Sports Fiber, yes.
Sports
Fiber. We've had something planned for our other episode that fell through. We'll still do it. That's still going to be a good segment, and it'll still be time sensitive. But I was a big wrestling fan in the 80s.
I was too.
Late 70s, when I was like 7 or 8, and my grandparents would babysit us on Saturday nights so that my parents could go out. Mm-hmm. And so we'd watch Saturday Night Wrestling.
Yep.
And then we got banned from watching it because me and my brothers would then proceed to try to kill each other the next day. And the next day.
And the next day. And the next day.
So we weren't allowed to watch until, I don't know, I'm like 13 or 14. And we found out that my grandparents were going to the Sportatorium. Sportatorium was in downtown Dallas, or just outside downtown Dallas in a very seedy area. But that's where the world-famous Von Erich family wrestled as part of World Class Championship Wrestling. And my grandparents would go on Friday nights and watch the Von Erichs fight. And there were a lot. I mean, they had big national names come into town all the time, too. And one day we're flipping channels, and my dad says, "Look, there's my mom." And we're looking. They sat in the front row in this one section all the time, and you could see them every Sunday. It was a Sunday wrestling there. Every Sunday episode, you could see there's my grandma, my aunt, and my grandfather sitting right there in the front row.
That's cool.
That was awesome. So we started getting into it. My mom's like, "Okay, y'all can watch it, but you can't fight." Okay. The second they would leave us,
You're wrestling,
beating
yeah.
the fuck out of each other.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But we had to make a promise. Somebody gets hurt, you don't tell how you got hurt. You fell off the bed. Something
Exactly.
happened. But so we'd start watching it. So now I got some friends into it in high school or junior high. And so we went to the sportatorium one night, and I was like, I'm going to go freak out my grandmother. She's not going to have any idea that I'm here, you know. So I walked up, and we were like 4 rows behind her. And she's yelling at somebody, some Von Erich, one of his opponents. So I said, Von Erich, suck! And I mean, I had people, I didn't realize the danger. And I'm like, I'm joking. And my grandmother turned around with this mean look on her face, and she said, Randy? Freaked her out. It was awesome. So she always fought because they were women of science. My aunt and my grandmother love them, but they're women of science. And so they'd buy 2 extra seats so that they could be comfortable in the front row. So I got to go up and sit in the front row with them. And
Nice.
That was fun.
That's way fun.
I
Yeah.
was a big Von Erich fan. They had a tragic story. Kevin's the only one left. But
Yeah. I was looking at.
he was my favorite anyway. So.
Yeah, I was looking at the Wikipedia on it, and this is just a horrible. I'm going to read this little paragraph here, but this just tells you these guys, a ton of them, you know, wrestled, and although the family patriarch Fritz lived to the age of 68, 5 of his 6 sons preceded him in death, 3 by suicide.
Yep.
His firstborn son Jack Jr. died at the age of 6. In 1984, David Von Erich died in Japan from acute enteritis of the upper intestine. Michael, Chris, and Carrie all committed suicide in 87, 91, and 93.
And Kevin and Carrie were the 2 most popular ones. Carrie actually did win the NWA World Title over Ric Flair once.
Okay.
But it was at the memorial for David, so it's almost like they threw him a bone and let him win it, so
Yeah.
that he could, you know, the Von Erichs could have their moment. And,
Yeah.
because what had happened was David was supposed to win it. They were gearing it up for David to win it. And then when David died, they flipped a coin between Kevin and Carrie. Carrie won, and Carrie got the title. But what happened was wrestling started losing its popularity in the 80s. Local wrestling. It was getting big with the Vince McMahon stuff.
Yeah.
And the Hulk Hogan and all this stuff. And so local wrestling was dying. Well, Kevin was tired of it. He was the oldest. He was getting tired of it. He wanted to go on more of the managing side. Well, Carrie wanted to keep doing it. Carrie was built like Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he kind of looked like him in the face.
Yeah.
And he had a tragic motorcycle accident and was out of wrestling for a couple of years. And then one day I'm watching TV and I'm flipping, and it's WWE or something. And I'm seeing this guy, and they're calling him the Texas Warrior or something Warrior. And I'm like, that looks like Kerry Von Erich. But they're not calling him Kerry Von Erich. When they showed a close-up on him, I'm like, that's Kerry Von Erich. I'm like, man, he has slowed down a lot. Because he was only in his early 30s. You figured he'd still be dynamic.
Yeah.
And come to find out, like 6 months later, he killed himself. What had happened is he lost most of his left foot in that motorcycle accident.
Oh, no.
So he was wrestling on a wooden foot.
Oh,
And that was when he realized he couldn't wrestle anymore, and he went and killed himself.
yikes.
The younger brother, Mike, got toxic shock syndrome, which is a female disease that women get from tampons, I think.
Yeah.
And he got it through a blood transfusion and wound up dropping 100 pounds and realized he could never wrestle again, so he killed himself.
That's freaking
And
awful.
then the youngest one, his name was Chris. He was like 5'2". All the others were well in their 6. And so he wasn't big enough to be a wrestler, but he tried anyway. And when he realized he couldn't be a wrestler, he
shot
killed
himself, yeah.
So tragic family.
Yeah.
But I had so many fun times watching them. But then you get the national people. Because of them, I've seen Andre the Giant in person.
Oh, nice.
Ric Flair, big King Kong Bundy, Bruiser Brody. Remember Bruiser Brody?
Yeah.
Kabuki. I saw a bunch of the big names from the 80s.
Yeah, we went a couple times when I lived in Corpus Christi as a kid. We went to a couple of wrestling matches at whatever the venue was that was there. It was downtown. And I got to meet Hulk Hogan. I got to meet, what's his name, Roddy Piper, and a couple of the other guys. They were signing stuff for kids
Who's the
and
guy
everything.
that was fighting with Andy Kaufman all the time? Jerry Lawler.
Jerry Lawler, yeah.
I've seen him in person.
Yeah. So there's a couple lists online. This one's kind of interesting. It's the top 50 wrestlers of all time. And this is from IMDb. I'm going to start at the bottom here, and we'll go up top 50.
And by the way, this segment is sponsored to you by AJ Fernandez and Todd Vance.
Yes.
Which is why I kick him in the balls.
The AJ Fernandez Sports Fiver, but we're going long on it. So they had number 50 as Booker Huffman, who I don't know.
No.
Number 49, Jake Roberts.
Okay, I've seen him.
Number 48, Glenn Jacobs. Number 47, Mike Foley, who's the guy with the puppet, or what's his name? He goes by crap. What's that guy's
I
name?
don't know anyone with a puppet.
They don't have his whole name on here. Oh well, I guess Mike Foley. Okay, we'll go with that. Scott Hall, 46. Kevin Nash, number 45. Ted DiBiase, number 44. 45 is Rob Van Dam. I don't remember that one. 42, Dallas Page. Number 41, Sid. I'm going to skip over guys. We'll see. Owen Hart, number 38. Those weren't the Hart. There was Hart brothers, wasn't there? Yeah. Kensuke Sasaki, I guess. I don't know.
Oh crap! It went out on me.
37. Leon White, 35. John Cena's number 34. Brock Lesnar's number 32. Let's see here. Chris Jericho's number 28. These are a lot of the new guys are in here.
Yeah.
Dusty Rhodes, I remember Dusty Rhodes. Andre the Giant's number 21. I'm surprised he's that far down. Roddy Piper's number 18. Jerry Lawler's number 16. Rick Rude, 15. Eddie Guerrero? I don't remember him. A lot of weird ones in here. Dwayne Johnson's number 8. Wow.
The Rock?
The Rock is
You
number
smell
8.
what The Rock is cooking?
Yep, it's bacon and eggs. Steve Austin's number 7.
Steve Austin. That's not what I was thinking of. Never mind. Go ahead.
Shawn Michaels is number 6. Mark Calloway is number 5. Randy Savage, number 4. Bret Hart, there's the other Hart.
Since Bret Hall's a hockey player.
Yeah, Bret Hart's number 3. Hulk Hogan, number 2. Ric Flair, number 1. That's what they have as number 1.
I think Ric Flair's held the world title more than anyone ever has.
Yeah.
Okay, this is what got me into wrestling. Kevin Von Erich's fighting Ric Flair for the world title.
Okay.
And during this day and age, I don't know if it's the case anymore, but if you throw a wrestler over the top rope, you're automatically disqualified.
Okay.
And what had happened was Ric Flair, in the process of throwing Kevin over the top rope, knocked out the referee, so the referee didn't see it. So Rick gets thrown over the top rope.
Yeah.
So another emergency ref is running up to the rink while Kevin runs around and grabs Ric Flair and throws him over the top rope. Well, the regular ref wakes up. Kevin pins Ric Flair. He gives Kevin the belt. The other ref didn't see Rick throw Kevin over the ring, so he saw it was Kevin, so he gave it to Ric Flair. And that just pissed me off, and I was like, I've got to watch wrestling until Kevin Von Erich wins the world title. I mean, I was kind of happy when Kerry did it, but it was kind of like Elvis and the Beatles. You either liked Elvis or you liked the Beatles. And it was like, you like Kevin or you like Kerry, and I like Kevin.
Yeah, I think a lot of people liked Kevin. Kevin was the one I always heard about the most of the Von Erichs.
He fought because he wrestled barefoot.
Yeah.
And he'd fly. He'd be like, get on the top rope. He'd do this thing where he'd fly in the air and cross pinion and stuff like that. So he was the fun one to me. Yeah. And he's the only one who's still alive, which is too bad.
Yeah. That was, I mean, wrestling was just, I don't know. It's
and also the Hulk Hogan scene in Rocky III.
Oh, yeah, awesome, yeah. Of course, yeah.
All this came about at the same time that got me into liking wrestling.
Yeah. I think it was just more, it's getting that way again. I think they've pulled that in, and it's more about the drama and the stories, and it's sort of like, a male version of a soap opera, really. That's about as close as you're going to get to a soap opera for guys. But it was that way in the 80s, but it wasn't like known that it was that way in the 80s. You just accepted it. That was the way it was, and it was cool, and you thought it was real, and
Yeah. I mean, you had an idea that it wasn't real, because nobody's going to lay there long enough for you to do some of these things.
Exactly, yeah.
But you kind of hoped that the outcome was real.
Yeah.
But,
and I've heard from other people who've done multiple sports, and they've talked about saying that wrestling isn't real is like, there's people who, I think there was one guy that's a wrestler that was a UFC fighter. I heard this the other day, and I can't remember the guy's name, but he said he's more tired after a wrestling match than he ever was doing anything UFC, because it's so much more involved. It's not just waiting to fight. You're always constantly doing something. You've got to do the moves. You've got to do
you're
all the
thinking.
You're thinking. It is a performance. Yeah, it's very much a performance. So it's a lot different than just regular fighting.
And as I read in Kevin Von Erich interview, he said whether it's real or not, being thrown onto a rink, 5-10 times a night hurts.
Yeah.
It hurts a lot.
Yeah, and there's guys that are 60-something, still doing it and flying off the damn. It's just ridiculous. So I mean, you have to be
incredible athletes.
Yeah, you have to be an incredible athlete to do that, and absolutely. So you got to give those guys props.
Yeah.
And with what McMahon's doing with it now and turning it into an entertainment conglomerate where they're producing movies and everything else, that's next level. I mean, it's definitely next level, because you got WWE produces movies now, and they're taking their guys and putting them into these action roles and stuff. And most of them don't stick. I mean, most of them they're not great actors. I think Dwayne Johnson's the exception. to the rule as far as
Is he a
making.
great actor?
No, he's not.
a
He's not.
respectable
He's
actor.
not a great actor,
Okay.
but he does the action thing well, and he has his comfort zone. He's good at comedy. He's good at straight up action.
Yeah.
He's probably a better actor than Hulk Hogan. I'll give him that.
Well, yeah. That's
That's not saying a whole lot.
Although Thunderlips was awesome.
Yeah, Thunderlips was awesome. Yeah.
But yeah, that's just a wrestling acting role. He does that every night.
Yep.
He did that every night.
And then you had Randy Savage in Spider-Man, the first Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
He played Bonesaw or something, so he
Right.
fought Spider-Man. He wrestled
And
Spider-Man
he
in
had
that.
that old
yeah.
Andy Kaufman, Jerry Lawler thing.
Yep.
I still think was an act. I don't think that.
Oh
was
yeah, of
real.
course that was an act.
Yeah.
Of course that was an act. I mean, that's exactly what that was. That was just publicity.
Yeah.
And it was him going outside the box and trying to put basically be a rock star comedian is really what
Right.
it was.
Yeah.
And that's really what he was. I mean,
That's what
he
it was, yeah.
was the only one doing these crazy stunts and stuff that people do now all the time. So.
Right. Now Jerry Lawler might have really hit him on that show.
Oh,
but,
yeah, I think-
But it wasn't.
I think basically there was probably some ground rules like Andy's going to do this, Andy's going to do that, he's going to try and provoke you, just go with it, and then maybe Andy pushed the wrong button and you fucking really fucked him up. But that's what you put yourself in that place. You kind of run the risk of getting hurt. So
Well, did you like real quick? Did you like that movie, The Wrestler, with Mickey Rourke?
I liked it. Yeah, I
That was
dug
very
it.
solid.
Yeah,
That
that was
was
a
very
very
solid.
solid movie. Marissa Tomei was really good in that. I mean, I could see her getting an Oscar for that over My Cousin Vinny.
Yeah,
But-
she already won. For
Yeah,
My Cousin Vinny,
exactly.
when she wasn't supposed to, supposedly.
Yeah, Jack Palance is like, she's got a nice rack. I'll give it to her.
Why
I
not?
want to squeeze it next to her.
Nice.
That was-
So anyway, but I got out of wrestling about 86, 87. I was only in it for a couple of years, but I was really into it for those couple of years. And in mid-late 90s, it got bigger than it had ever been for a while.
Yeah.
I just couldn't get into it anymore. It was like,
And even when I wasn't into it anymore, I still played the video games because they were a blast. It was especially when they had all the old characters that you grew up with and stuff versus
would be
these new
cool.
characters.
That
They
would
were
be
really fun.
Yeah.
The Legends ones that they had,
right.
all the old guys plus, you could have The Rock fighting Hulk Hogan, and it was great.
That's
So,
funny that you'd mentioned that's the part you liked, because in Tiger Woods, I was always playing Tiger Woods, and I know we're running up, but then one year you could play against, you had to unlock them, but it was so easy to beat Tiger Woods' game that it was easy to unlock him, and I'm not a gamer at all.
Yeah.
But you could play against Arnold Palmer, Jack
Yeah.
Nicklaus, Gary Player. It's like, I want to play those guys. That's what I wanna
Exactly.
play.
Yeah. Those are great. Yeah. That's fun
And I
stuff.
didn't need the codes. I was able to crack it myself.
Exactly. So what do you think? Second, third?
It's smoothing out big time, but the flavor is still
Very
just
tasty.
as tasty as it could be.
Yep.
And
I'm definitely
curious-
getting the earthiness now, and a little bit of cedar.
I'm picking up cedar, and I
Yeah.
think he's going to pull one of those kicking ass, massage you, kicking ass things. I
Oh
think
yeah,
that's
it's
what he's
gonna it's gonna kick in the last third and
Yeah,
just
I
and
think
really
so.
knock us in the balls.
Yep.
So definitely eat something before you smoke this one,
Mm-hmm.
especially if you get a little bit of nickups or a little bit of nicotine. You get that vitamin N that gets you. You want to be ready for that.
The nicotine acid, the acid reflux.
The acid reflex, yes. All right, we're gonna take a break. Come back for the last third. All right, so we're back for the last third of the Sam Leccia Luchador.
I'm almost to the numbing stage.
Yeah, we
It
took a
didn't,
little bit
it didn't
longer
quite
break.
kick our ass in the final third like I thought, but it did get strong. It did get more intense. That spicy flavor came roaring back, but just not in as strong a fashion.
Yeah, I might be getting the nickups here pretty soon because I was pulling on it pretty hard there.
You've been known to do that.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to do some shout-outs, and then we'll finish off this last segment here.
Okay.
Okay, not as many this week, folks. Very disappointed, you guys. Before I get there, please know that we can be found on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, Stitcher, Podcast Land, Podomatic, YouTube, Facebook, and
yeah.
Twitter. And you can follow the show at Calypso Cigar Rev, and there are 2 R's. I'm at Randy Rankin 43. He's at Captain Funky Pants.
And CigarDeetNate.
Nate, and it's DEET, Nate. All right, so, and if you comment, like, subscribe, follow, any of those things, or all of those things, matter of fact, let's do all of those things, guys and gals out there. We will give you a shout out, and not many people took us up on that this week. Shame.
I got some.
For shame. Okay, Facebook, Patsy Michelle Fowler. Justin Sandlin, that name sound familiar? That is Jack Sandlin's son. He's with
Yeah.
Miami Cigars, I think.
Cool.
Terrence Culberson, and Jeff
Yeah, I think that's how you say it.
Hirschbauer.
Oh.
I'm joking.
No.
He's not that cool. Anyway, Jeff Hershey, our buddy in Cincinnati. Okay, Twitter, Kevin Cigar Expert.
Ooh.
Craig Myers, finally.
Our Canadian connection.
Yes. And Blind Man's Puff Guy. Tracy Mason, Top Cigar Humidors, and Scott, Don't Call Me Brandy Cognac.
Don't call me Brandy.
And then just a couple on YouTube, Kirk and Guio, however we pronounce that name.
An Eddie Stogie fan.
Eddie Stogie. Oh yeah,
Commented.
I had already done these before Eddie Stogie.
Yep, he commented on a couple.
He must have gone in mass mode because he was like,
I know.
stuff.
He's catching up,
Yeah,
which
he
is
wasn't on
okay.
here. Yeah, but we
Which is
appreciate
okay.
it. Do it.
So Desert Cigar Smoker Reviews did a couple of... We had some retweets this week, too. We had a lot of retweets. Kevin, Cigar Expert, you already mentioned him, so he gets a double mention. Paul Bunn, who's one of my Stogie Friends buddies, he's also at Cigar Fellas, so he's part of that group of guys over there. Cigar Fellas is another site you can go and read cigar reviews and stuff. Walter Blake Knobloch. Okay. And Evan, the Smoking Geek. No, Smoking Greek. Sorry, the Smoking Greek.
I think he was following me at one point. I don't know if he still is.
Bayou Humidors.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's about it. Same one. Jaden Chills. Yeah.
Okay.
10 Lighters.
Oh, I left them off.
Michelle Rogers. Stalin LOL. Whoever that is. And we need to contact
I wonder if
these.
she's LOLing Stalin.
Maybe, yeah.
That's what it is, maybe.
And let's see, we had some other. We did have a lot of retweets. We did the FF thing, follow friendly follow.
Yeah, Chanel Ryan. I left her off. She did that.
And Billy Pond.
Billy
Yeah.
Pond did it.
Mm-hmm.
And Nate didn't know what the fuck it meant, so I tweeted Chanel to find out what it meant. She let me know what it meant. Follow Friday, and I didn't know that. So.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chanel, for letting us know that.
Yeah, what that is basically if you're on Twitter and you have people that follow you and you think they're worthy of notice and you want other people to follow them, you put that little hashtag FF and you put a whole bunch of
people
that you follow that you think are worthy of following, and hopefully it'll get them some followers.
Regard, Brandon Cornelius Holdsworth and the guys at Ezra Zion Cigars also did that.
Correct. So that's always cool. And I have broken the 1,000 tweets on Captain Funky Pants. 1,040 tweets. That's a lot of tweets.
Tweeted that much? I think I just cracked 500.
Yeah, I've tweeted a lot. So yeah,
but see, I didn't start tweeting till right about a year ago.
Yeah, I tweeted before that. So, but I took a big break from it too. But yeah, so that's fun.
I swore 6 years ago I would never tweet.
I think
anything.
I spend more time on Twitter than I do on Facebook.
I do too.
At this point.
I know I do.
Yeah,
I know for a fact I do.
And we're gonna give a shout out to Yachty because they're gonna send us some really cool Lanceros to sample. And we'll have her on the show via Google Plus if it works.
She is a hoot.
Yeah, she's over at 90 Miles. So
and she's funny.
Yeah, she's cool. Good people. Good people.
Okay, you know that song "Into the Night" by Benny Mardones?
Mm-hmm.
If I could play. You ever listen to the words? It's like he's talking about a 16-year-old girl he wants to get with her and stuff.
There's a ton of songs like that, though.
He's an adult.
There's a ton of songs like that, though.
But that was in the 50s and 60s when pedophilia wasn't looked down upon. It's not just...
How many rock and roll songs are there that are Christine's 16 and she's only 17?
But he's like emotionally... I got every kind of sound in his voice and stuff. She's like talking about how much she liked that song, and I started bringing it up. She started laughing her ass off. Like, oh my God, I'll never listen to this song the same way again. No, she's going to be fun to have on the show. I'm looking forward to having her on.
Yeah, that'll be good stuff.
Yeah. So
what was the other thing you wanted to talk about?
Stuff.
Stuff. Yay.
I like stuff. Okay, so... Damn it. Crap.
He blanked.
I did.
Happens when you get older.
Yeah.
So Game of Thrones, you don't watch that, do you?
No,
Damn it. Game of Thrones pissed me off this week.
Oh, it debuted this week, or premiered this week, right? The new season?
Well, the new season, it's episode 8, so they've already been on a little bit. But they had a episode that just broke my heart, and I twitted my twit. What do you call it? Twittered. I tweeted about it. I'm so old. I'm so old.
He just did its 1,000th twat.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I tweeted my twat 1,040 times already. But I tweeted about it, and
Lord, we apologize.
It got retweeted a bunch of times because I guess apparently a lot of people felt the same, that I wanted to punch George R.R. Martin in his stupid beard because he killed one of the characters I liked. He does that though. So
was he the creator?
Yeah, the creator, the writer. He doesn't do the show, so I can't really be too mad at him. But you know, I'm sure that comes off of his source material. So he has a habit of killing characters you love. So God, just you have shows like that though that you just. I mean, 24 is like that every freaking season almost. You know, I'm waiting for them to kill off someone I like on this.
I'm kind of glad that. Well, okay, damn, I want to throw myself under the bus here. I'm kind of glad I quit watching Teen Wolf after season 1, because after watching Wolf Watch this year and hearing how the plots were and all these people that got killed and people that I remembered from season 1, I was like, I'm kind of glad I didn't watch it, because I'd be upset about all these people getting killed. So anyway, so that's 24 definitely.
Yeah, 24.
Or especially 24, because and I think Teen Wolf's going to be kind of this way, but Game of Thrones or Walking Dead kind of has this thing.
Yeah.
Because 24's killed off the same character 3 times, and it's broke my heart all 3 times.
I'm just waiting for Tony to show up this season, you know?
Exactly. You know he's going to.
Maybe that's who he's talking to. He could be talking to Tony.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Oh,
that would be so
that'd be so great if we're right about that. That'd be awesome. Tony's back again.
Yeah. So when my buddy's back this year, she's going to get killed off at the end of this next season. So it's kind of like, that's going to suck. But yeah, that's kind of why I stay away from those kind of shows. But I'm also a sucker, and like I said, that's what brought me back to 24.
Yeah.
Was seeing Tony was back. I'm like, okay, how they're going to write this in? And they
But
wrote it in.
you gotta think of it. What other show before 24 really did that?
Only soap operas, and they got made fun of it.
Yeah.
For it,
24 was really kind of the one that brought it into the forefront, and I think that a lot of people took that model and started going with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because Walking Dead kills people like crazy. So did the comic, but
Yeah. Well, the creator of Teen Wolf said you're never really dead on Teen Wolf.
Yeah.
So, and I'm sure that's the case. So maybe your Game of Thrones girl will come back.
Nah, no.
It's not that kind of fantasy show.
No,
well, 24's not a fantasy show.
No, this character got his head completely crushed. So yeah, you're kind of dead at that point. His head was literally
come back?
just crushed. No, it's not Star Wars. You don't come back as Qui-Gon Jinn or some shit. Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Well, Tony got blown up, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Then he came back with some scars on one side.
Scars, yeah.
So you gotta be able to tell it's Tony, so
And
you have to have the other
his wife
side.
never came back. They actually did.
No,
kill her
yeah,
off.
they did
What
kill
was
her.
her name?
I don't remember.
I remember
Michelle.
Michelle.
She got blown up in the car, right?
Yeah,
That
he was next to the car or whatever.
Yeah. That wasn't real big. I didn't like Michelle. I kind of her character
My
annoyed
ex-wife
me.
loved her, and she cried like crazy when Michelle died.
Mm.
The deaths that got me most on 24 were Tony's first one.
Yeah.
And his second one. Tony's first one, Jack's wife in the first season. That was 14 years ago, people. Don't rip us for spoiling things.
Yeah.
The Devane character, when he thought he had died.
Mm-hmm.
The one.
That President Palmer.
President Palmer, definitely. But the one where he was the head of CIA or CTU.
Mm-hmm.
And the terrorist was like, we will release this virus unless you kill the head of CTU, and Jack had to shoot him in the head.
Oh, that was rough, yeah.
I can't remember that guy's name, but oh my God.
Yeah, he shot him in the ditch.
The guy's kind of like, just do it, dude, just do it. And Jack's like, oh.
Yeah.
But he did it. And then the one, the guy that is Nina's husband in real life, I can't remember his name. Where he realized he was dying, and there was a bomb on this helicopter, and he forced everyone off on a parachute, and so he would crash the helicopter so that everyone would survive. That was a cool one. Yeah. But it made you sad because it's like, oh, he was a good guy because you hated him the whole show.
Yeah. I mean, even this season, you don't see it happen, but Chloe talked about her husband and kid being killed. Yeah. That was rough.
24 brings a lot of heart to a show that you wouldn't expect to have.
Yeah, exactly. Considering it's basically an action show. I mean, every show has.
You got to get shit done in a day.
Yeah. A crap ton of action.
Of course, half a day this season.
Yeah. Have you been keeping up with the time thing? Are they just skipping?
It's still an hour. No, they're starting it. Boom, boom.
So every episode's been an hour, and it's contiguous. It's not
an hour. Yeah.
Okay, so it's not. They're not skipping hours.
No.
Oh, so it's only gonna be 12.
They don't seem as interested. Which I guess over time you do lose that.
Yeah.
They don't seem as interested in like the Ivan Strahovski character was supposed to be flying from the CIA headquarters to where Jack's location was so that they could work together.
Yeah.
And it was like 8 minutes. They'd already been able to get him a car, get him to his location to get her there. So they were a little less interested in it now because they're trying to get the story to move along.
Yeah.
And then when they had to do 24 hours, they had to stretch that out. And you'd be like, shouldn't she get with Jack yet?
They did that a lot though when they were in LA, where they'd just be able to get from one side of LA to the other in like 20 minutes. Like no, no fucking way, no way.
I remember when last time I left LA in a car.
Mm-hmm.
We were in Malibu. I'm sorry, Santa Monica.
Okay.
And it took us from the time we got on the highway. It took us 3.5 hours to get to San Bernardino.
Oh my God.
It was hell.
God.
That was hell. Of course, people in LA are laughing like, it took me 8 hours one day.
The longest I think I was in traffic that I can remember was when the Spurs won No, it was Rockets. The Rockets won, and we were on the highway.
So you were in Houston.
We were in Houston on the highway, and traffic dead stopped. And people were outside of their cars just like cheering and stuff, and we were there for 3.5 hours. And I'm like, why is no one moving? Why is what? We couldn't even figure out why. I mean, we're listening to the radio, but like, okay, you know, there's no wreck. What the hell is people just literally stopped their cars and just got out and were partying. It was the weirdest thing.
Well, can't beat them. I got almost the same thing happened to me while I was leaving Houston one time. Second I left Houston downtown, it took me 3.5 hours to get to Conroe.
Yeah.
Conroe.
That's horrible. Yeah, Houston sucks for traffic, worse than Dallas, I think.
Tonight the cigar group was in, and that was the two cities they were talking about that they hate traffic the most were LA and Houston.
Yeah.
And I've been to both.
Yeah.
Never tried to drive in New York, and I don't think I would ever try.
I never, as many times as I went to New York, I never drove.
Never
I always walked and took the subway, and that was
or
it.
Cab.
Yeah.
That's it.
I think I took a cab twice.
Yeah.
The whole time I was there.
Yeah. So.
And I would always I'd get the limo from the airport to the hotel because it was cheaper than the cab, which is weird.
The limo was? That's weird.
Yeah, because it was it was a flat rate. If you booked it enough in advance, you get a flat rate for the limo. It was like $30, whereas the cab would be like 50 or 60 or something ridiculous. You know.
Jeez. What was funny, the first time I was in New York, it was for a job interview, and I expected the job interview to go like 3.5 hours. So it started at 10, so I figured I'd be there till 2, take a couple hours to the airport. Blah blah blah. I was done with the interview at like 11:15, and they offered me the job. And I had a 4:30 flight, so I'm like, what am I going to do? I've never been to New York. She's like, walk around the city. It's great. You'll love it. And I'm like, yeah, I'll do that. That sounds fun. And I said, when it's time to go to the airport, I said, do I really flag down a cab like you do in the movies? Because I've never flagged down a cab. You know, in Vegas, you just point, and because they're already sitting right in front of you. You know? I said, like, if the sign's on, you know, wave it, they'll come over to you. I'm like, okay. So I felt cool the first time I held a cab in New York City. It was that's kind of fun.
Yeah, it's pretty cool until you sit in there and you smell it. It smells like 80 dirty socks.
They drive. Okay, in Vegas, you know, driving down the strip, man. They're just doing like this, and they don't care. And you know you're going to hit 9 people just to go from this hotel to this hotel.
Yeah.
In New York, it's like you're going to hit 35 people.
Oh yeah.
Per block, the way they drive, how they pull that off. I will never drive in New York ever.
It's friggin' dangerous, man.
Nope.
And yeah, crossing the street's dangerous too, for that matter. That's why I was asking about Vegas and IPCPR. I was telling them I might stay at the hotel across the strip from where the event is, and everybody was like, yeah. I was like, so I just get a cab and go across the street. Like, it doesn't work that way. You're gonna be, you know, waiting 2 hours for a cab. You're gonna have to find a bridge
especially
to go
when there's
over.
A convention in town like that. Yeah, I was there. The last time I was in Vegas was the week that the Wynn opened. Not while I wasn't at the Wynn. The city was packed. I mean, you couldn't get anywhere. I wound up walking everywhere in Vegas that trip. And that's a lot of walking in Vegas.
Yeah, I'm going right in the freaking hot part, too, in the middle of July, so it's going to be blazing hot.
I think I always was in the spring or the fall. I don't think I've ever been there during the summer.
Yeah, I just hope it's not. If I go, I hope it's not like, you know, 80 degrees inside the convention center.
It was 109 one day when I was there.
It's a dry heat, though.
It's 109.
It's 109. It has been surprisingly mild this summer so far, and I'm very happy about that.
Jinxed it.
No.
It's supposed to be 97 tomorrow.
Ah, son of a bitch. That's still better than 104.
Get this, though. It's to that point of the year where if you're going to be outside, it's fine because we're still in the 70s at night. But because you're in the 70s at night, the air conditioning doesn't kick on in the house.
Yeah.
Unless you got it real low 70s or something. So I was in that in-between stage where there's no air outside or inside, and it's only like 77 outside, so the air's not coming on, you know. And my fan wasn't enough. I had to sleep with my legs apart because when they were together, I was sweating.
Sticking.
I was like, so I had to kind of sleep like this, which is totally not comfortable.
I have not been sleeping with covers for about 4 weeks now because of the foot thing. And even without the boot, I'm still sleeping without covers just because it's been comfortable.
In the last 4 weeks.
Yeah, it's been real comfortable for me. My wife's like, you know, curled up like a freaking cocoon. It's like 73 in the house.
I hate you.
Yeah. My AC bill hasn't been over 100 yet. I love my AC. It's greatness.
We keep it at 70. Matt's this year, for some reason, he's putting it lower, but we keep it at about 3 degrees higher than I want it in here.
Yeah.
And my roommate keeps it about 4 degrees higher than I want to keep it.
You can always go in the cooler and the humidor and cool off, though, right?
Yeah, sweat.
From all the humidity.
Sweat. A cool sweat is what I'll have, yeah. Although when it does get hot in the summer, I do spend a lot of time walking around.
Just sort stuff.
That cigar looks like it's wrong.
God.
Anyway,
Oh, I went into a cigar shop this week that I haven't been
but
into.
I don't think it's salvage.
Yeah, you're at the
I'm gonna
nubbing
try
stage. You're done.
I'm gonna
I went into
try
a cigar shop I haven't been into in a long time. Last couple, I guess it was last week because I was in the area. I went for a doctor's appointment to get the ankle checked on, and I was like, I'll go stop by there and see what's new. And there's lots of mold on cigars.
Yeah. Davis. Nate and I, CigarDeetNate and I
Yeah.
were in a store, and he pointed it out. I was like, look at that.
Yeah, I found a couple boxes that had that. I was like, that looks like plume, and picked it up. Like, that's not plume.
No, if it's green, it's not plume.
Yeah, even if it's white and it doesn't move when you, it's not plume.
Right. If
So-
it looks like somebody put a little liquid paper on your cigar, that's
Yeah.
not plume.
Yeah, no.
A little dusting, it's plume.
So yeah, take care of your humidors, people, and go to shops that take care of their humidors. And if you see that, bring it to their attention. And a good shop would be like, "Oh, sorry," and they'll remove the offending cigars, which this shop did.
Yeah.
And they were like, someone got asked chewed about it, and
I like
still.
to tease Pedro because one of his first times he came in here, I just learned his name, but I didn't know he was Bill Haley's son or anything. He was just a new customer. And you know how Pedro is. When you first meet him, you kind of roll your eyes at him, and he knows us. We love him. You're kind of like, oh, God. Because he was just so interested in learning at the time that he just wanted to talk. And you're like, I got to work. And so one day he was in, and he bought we had these Monte Cristos in a tube, the Altadis ones, not the Cubans.
well, yeah, because you can't have those.
And he left, and he was out the door 10 minutes, and the phone rang. I could see on caller ID. He said Pedro Haley, and I said, "Hey, Pedro." It's like, "Man, I don't want to be a jerk, but you sold me 3 shitty cigars." And I said, "What do you mean shitty?" He said, "They got fucking mold all over." And he's got to remember, he was new. He'd only been smoking for a few months. And I said, "Well, do you feel like bringing them back? If you let me look at them, because I said I'm 95% sure it's not mold, but I'll look at them and we'll either give you money back or we'll get you some new sticks." But I said, "But it's not mold. I'm not more than sure." He says, "Well, I don't know what you're talking about. It's going to be mold." I said, "Bring them back." So he says, "I'll bring them back in the morning." And I said, "Okay." So he comes back, most beautiful white plume you'd ever seen. It was like feathers and stuff.
Oh, nice.
And I was like, "Dude, you got a nice, well-aged, well-made cigar." And I said, "That's a good thing." He's like, You just don't want to refund my. I said, "Pedro, why would I do that to you?" I said, "I'm telling you." I said, "Go online. You're an online guy. Go on, look up pluming and look at some pictures."
Yep.
He called me later. "Man, I'm sorry." And it was about 4 or 5 weeks ago. Customers in here talking about his cigar had mold on it. Pedro's like, "No, it's plume," and so they're describing it for him. I'm like, "Yeah."
He learned. He can be taught. So, last thoughts on this tasty cigar. I would definitely smoke this again.
I will smoke this again.
This and the black are my 2 favorites that he made so far. The white was probably it was good. The white's still a good cigar if you like the Dominican stuff, but I tend to lean more towards the Nicaraguans and whatnot. So
I like this better, but I do like the black a lot.
yeah,
I had a black the other day.
very tasty stuff. So
Sam, keep up the good work.
Mhm.
He's a fan of the show.
yeah, yes, he likes being on there with the extra people jumping in. That was fun.
He retweets us from time to time, not as much as he used to, but he
Yeah,
does.
he's a busy guy.
He is busy.
I'll see him at IPCPR
He's
hopefully.
making good cigars, so
He is.
that's the important thing.
So we've already done the shout outs and everything, and we've already told you where to find us. So as always, it's been great smoking with
See
you.
you later, Brandon.
See you later, Randy.